Los Chapitos puede ser la próxima mina justa. Tier 1 recauda 13.5 millones de dólares canadienses para Proyecto Curibaya. Oroex Mining y MMTP anuncian financiamiento por 14 millones de dólares canadienses. Utilidades de Buenaventura cayeron menos 1012% en 2020. Chacana amplía mineralización de Proyecto Huancarama. Element 29 anuncia inicio de labores de exploración en Flor de Cobre. Panoro completa el listado de sus acciones en OTCQB Market. Azincourt Energy levanta 4.24 millones de dólares canadienses para exploración en Perú. Proyecto Falciani incluirá una refinería para producir carbonato de litio en grados batería. IPE. Construcción de la cartera de proyectos mineros generará 2.3 millones de empleos.
Buenos días, amigos. Es un placer otra vez tenernos acá con ustedes y que nos acompañen en una versión del Noticiero de MinerAndina. Bien, en esta oportunidad estoy muy complacida de conversar con un ejecutivo de uno de nuestros interesantes y nuevos proyectos de cobre en el Perú, los Chapitos. Él es el CEO de Camino Minerals, se llama Chmelauskas, si es que he pronunciado bien el nombre. Y tengo el gusto de que nos acompañe. Hi Jay, how are you doing?
Very good, very good. It's a pleasure to speak with you, Maybe.
Thank you too. We can start talking about Los Chapitos. I find this a very interesting project, but Los Chapitos is, I took a look, and it's from 2016, no, 2017. How Jai arrived a year ago. How did you get involved, and how did you find the project when you get involved with Camino Minerals, and why copper in Peru?
Well, you've got a few questions there, and I'm excited to answer all three of those. Well, first of all, let's talk about copper. So copper excited me because I just came out of the lithium industry as a startup CEO of Western Lithium, which is now Lithium Americas, with our development project on the Cachari deposit down in Argentina, and then the Thacker Pass deposit up in Nevada. And that was an exciting time around the introduction and development of lithium batteries and now electric cars. And that theme has played out quite strongly in that, you know, every car manufacturer in the world now is talking about bringing on electric vehicles in the 2025 to 2030 timeframe. So we're in a world now where we're creating electrons by renewable energy. Those electrons go into batteries for storage, and then ultimately they find their way into an electrified world, which includes electric vehicles. And the enabling metal for all of that is copper. So that's why we like copper, and we think that the next decade, the decades ahead, copper is the enabling metal for the electrification of our economy. So we like the copper theme. So then why Peru? Well, Chile and Peru make up the bulk of copper production in the world. And so we thought, let's go to the best jurisdictions in the world that have the biggest and most profitable mines, which happen to be Peru. And finding Los Chapitos, we recognized, the discovery that was made by Ken McNaughton, who's a director of the company. And he basically recognized the potential of Los Chapitos back in 2016 and 2017 when he put the first drill holes down. And really, the company made a discovery back in 2017. But the price of copper was still low. Yeah. And it hadn't hit, incentive pricing, and the world still hadn't caught on to this idea of electrification. But that's all changed now in 2021. we have electric cars, we have, renewable energy expansions, and it all requires copper metal. So this is where we are in 2021 now with our discovery.
Okay, very interesting. So it's a new copper discovery for Peru, right? Well, tell us in what stage of exploration is now Los Chapitos? What studies have been carried out? Yeah,
so we're very much an exploration company on the cusp of a large discovery. There's been about 20,000 meters of drilling on the project now. So we're at the stage of resource delineation. We've started to develop a block model. Right in the center of our main mineralized trend, which is called the Diva trend. We're right in the center, but what we've recognized is this Diva trend, which is along one of these northwest structures that parallels the coast of Peru. It extends for 10 kilometers along our 220 square kilometer land package at Los Chapitos. Wow. We also have a parallel trend, which is the Atajo trend, and it's of similar size, and it's showing the similar mineralization. So what we want to do is continue our drilling along this trend to determine the potential scope and size of the project that we have. In terms of the studies that we've done, we've started to develop a block model to come up with a maiden resource. We've started early stage metallurgical tests to look at the solubilities of the oxide and chalcocite copper near surface. And also we've done flotation tests in the event that we discover a major deposit at depth. So we're starting to put the pieces together in order to develop a mine into this copper cycle. But
before going to the plans for 2021, how the pandemic affected the project last year? Can you tell us a bit?
So I got involved last year with the pandemic, and I'd worked through a previous pandemic in 2003 when I was working over in China. So at the time, I thought that it would have no impact on our ability to advance the project. Well, of course, the whole world stopped and paused in 2020. But we were able to initially for a few months really data mine all the work that had previously been done from 2016 until 2020 when we got involved. And with that information, we were able to, as I mentioned, build our block model. And then in the middle of last year, we raised funds in order to bring the drill rig back to the project, and we drilled the project at the end of 2020 in October and November, and we managed to implement all of our COVID-19 policies, and we're happy to say we didn't have an incident of COVID on our drill program campaign.
Okay, that's interesting to raise funds in middle of the pandemic, right? In the middle of the pandemic, raise funds?
Yeah. So we were raising funds in the middle of the pandemic, and the price of copper had dropped significantly at the beginning of the pandemic. But ultimately, the investors that we brought to the company and to Peru share our vision of a long-term opportunity in copper, and so we were able to fund the project in 2020 on the basis of that vision.
And this year, what are the plans for this year? Are you thinking in a scoping study or not so far?
Well, we've got an exciting year ahead. A lot of drilling. As I mentioned, we want to drill to the north and to the south of where we previously drilled, focusing mainly on this main Diva trend. And what we're seeing to the north are some very large indications of alteration, where one drill hole, several drill holes can make a very large discovery on our IRCG system. We've also looked along, towards the south, where we have a lot of geochemical data now that shows, high populations of copper at surface, and then below surface, we have coincident mag and IP anomalies, which would indicate, some sort of geological, continuation at depth. So in 2021, at Los Chapitos, we plan at least 2 drill programs, one to the north and one to the south.
How many meters do you plan to drill this year?
So last year, based on our market cap, we drilled about 2,400 meters, 2,400 meters. So, initially these campaigns will start out of similar size and grow with the results that we get and with the recognition that we get in the marketplace.
So what is your budget for this year?
I would say, nominally speaking, anywhere from 5 million or more.
Okay. This is interesting. You are talking us to IOCG type deposit, right? But you have many sections, many areas, many zones, that you are studying. Are we talking about IOCG cluster?
Yeah, I would say we're talking about, we're talking about an IOC major trend, which goes up and down the coast of Peru. And really, you have a similar type of depositional environment down the coast of Chile as well. So it's, in Peru, IOCGs are primarily hosted in a formation called the Chocolate Formation. And it runs down the coast of Peru. Most notably, it runs right through JUSTA, which is our closest IOCG neighbor. And that's a project that's been mining both the iron ore, and now they're getting into the copper and gold. Iron ore, copper, gold, that's what IOCG stands for. So that's what JUSTA is now currently developing. MinSur has invested $1.6 billion into that project. It's going to be Peru's next new copper mine. It's 100 kilometers away from us, and it has very similar geology to what we see at Los Chapitos.
So Los Chapitos, you are thinking a mine like JUSTA, if we can. So could be a mine.
If we're lucky, JUSTA is quite a large discovery, over 400 million tons. There are several of those mines up and down the coast of Peru and Chile. There's others like Manto Verde, Mantos Blancos, El Soldado. Those are IOCG deposits that we would hope to be able to find at Los Chapitos, just based off of their size.
Okay, and you told us metallurgical studies are going to begin, or when? Or
so we've done preliminary metallurgical studies already, where we've done column tests on the oxidized material. We've done column tests on the oxide and mixed material, which is includes chalcocite.
Okay. How are your relationship with the communities? It's in Peru. It's always an issue. How are you handling these relations? Can you tell us?
Yeah. So our involvement in Peru is very important to create a good, to be good stewards of the environment, but also create a good stakeholder involvement, so that we can be successful on our existing projects. But really, you asked why Peru. Well, we want to do a lot of things in Peru and do more in Peru. So, currently the work that we're doing at Los Chapitos, we've had very good support from several communities and ranchers that are involved and have surface rights to the land. And those relationships were developed and established before my involvement. But we've got land use agreements that extend for 5 years, in order to access the land. And through COVID, you mentioned what it was like operating last year. We provided some services and support to the local community, which is much appreciated. And ultimately, to develop a mine in Peru, there's a lot of stakeholders that have to get, and recognize the benefit from this, and we recognize that. And on Los Chapitos, that's important, but everything else that we do in Peru and everything that we do in the world now is important to have that relationship.
Okay. Well, Los Chapitos is not the only project that you have in Peru, right? You have another one that is Plata Dorada. Where is it located? And maybe you can tell us the project, about the project or your plans this year.
Yeah. So we're building a portfolio of projects with a focus on copper in Peru. And so Plata Dorada is our second project. It's different from Los Chapitos. Los Chapitos, we're looking to make a large discovery with large tonnage, with our vision of the next MINA JUSTA. With Plata Dorada, the target there, it's a different geological setting. The target there would be much smaller, but that's offset by the fact that it's very, very high grade silver, very high grade copper. If we're successful there, it could be a very small mine, but a profitable mine. And there's analogies to mines in Mexico, like Cozamin, that's operated by Capstone, which is an intermediate copper producer, and it's been very successful mining a copper silver project. So with Plata Dorada, we sent our geologists out in last fall to do more reconnaissance on the site, and within a few weeks of doing geological work, we came back with more veins on the project. We have a total of almost 10 veins now. Some of these veins extend 400 meters. What we need to do is determine their extent at depth. We need to determine their width and really determine what kind of tonnage we have there. But the grades on these veins are very exciting, very high grade copper and silver, over 1,000 grams a ton silver. So we plan to do more geological work on Plata Dorada, and we do plan to drill Plata Dorada as well this year.
Okay, that is going to be an underground mine, right? If it's successful, no, it's an underground. It's veins.
I think you are correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and Camino Minerals is a junior company, right? But it is looking to be an operator, or it's looking to be to sell the project and to go on with other projects. To close to the last question.
Well, we always go into our exploration with the idea that we're going to build mines. Okay. And to that point, when I was in China building a very similar platform with a company called Jinshan, which is now China Gold International, we developed as an exploration company into a development or a producing company, and we built China's second largest gold mine, which is the Chongshan mine. So we think we've got some good mine finders in the company, and we're off to a very good start with Los Chapitos and Plata Dorada in Peru.
Okay, so thank you, Jay. Thank you. I hope it is not the last time we talk with you, and thank you for your time. So amigos, bien, le agradecemos a Jay por haber acompañado, por habernos contado temas tan interesantes de sus proyectos. Y bien, no se olviden de participar con nosotros en la edición especial para PIDA, que estamos ya por cerrar. Y bueno, será hasta la próxima edición del Noticiero de MinerAndina. Buenas tardes y que les vaya muy bien.
Organizamos tus comunicaciones virtuales, webinars, talleres, congresos, capacitaciones tan reales como las que te imagines, presentaciones profesionales en Zoom y para redes sociales, experiencia técnica y 25 años en el mercado nos avalan. En MinerAndina hacemos de tu evento una experiencia viva en audiovisual.